When large jobs require moving massive amounts of snow, get the work done quickly and efficiently with the Western Pile Driver and all-new Pile Driver XL pusher plows, both featuring Trace Edge technology. These pushers scrape down to the pavement with an advanced cutting-edge system that has independent 2-foot sections that move vertically, oscillate, and trip. Get more jobs done faster with the Western Pile Driver lineup of pusher plows.
Mike Bott from Frost Solutions, one of the owners of the company. What we do is provide a mini weather station to give you a tailored forecast to those particular locations so you know where and when and what to do in those parts of town. You know there's 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 different ways that people can experience tremendous value having a technology like this.
Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Journey with your host, Dave Westcott. The Entrepreneurial Journey is a weekly podcast that streams live every Tuesday at 9:15 a.m. Pacific on Dave's YouTube channel and LinkedIn profile. Now here's Dave with this week's episode.
Good morning and welcome to the Entrepreneurial Journey. I'm your host, Dave Westcott, and today I have with me special guest Marc Valenti with Fusione Corporation. He will give us the Italian version of that in just a moment, but we're gonna always have a little fun with this. Marc is currently the manager of operations for the Lexington Department of Public Works in Lexington, Massachusetts. He exercises general supervision and guidance over the department, including the management of staffing of 60 to 90 full-time equivalent employees, equipment allocation and deployment, including special events, projects, and snow operations. He also assists with the management of capital projects and operating budget for the public works. Marc has been an active member of the American Public Works Association since 2010 and is highly active with APWA National Winter Maintenance Subcommittee. He has presented at the National Snow and Ice and other national conferences since 2013 and is the past president of the Norfolk, Bristol, Middle Essex Highway Association. Prior to that, Marc spent 15 years on civil construction projects and has over 7 years of experience in heavy civil aspects of the industry. He has held roles as field engineer, project engineer, superintendent on utility, site work, top-down construction, deep foundation systems, concrete and marine construction, and utility rehabilitation projects for companies with annual sales revenues ranging from 10 to 200 million. Good morning, Marc.
Good morning, sir.
You have done a lot.
Yes, very fortunate, very fortunate.
How did you fit all that in?
Growing up in a family construction business, building roads and building sites is a good start. So you start young. So about 13 years old is when I started working in the field on site, and just haven't looked back since.
Wow, that's awesome. That's a great career. We met because you participate in the SIMA, Snow and Ice Management board. On some level, you're there providing information about what's going on with the APWA National Winter Maintenance Subcommittee, and we're talking about issues that are relevant for both the public and the private space, which is, you have a ton of knowledge, a ton of information. What is it about snow removal that you like or dislike?
Yes.
I got to say like or dislike.
Yes. Well, listen, and I think I have to be honest, right? It's a love-hate relationship. Am I right, Dave? You know, for any of us that have been in this business, there are times that we love it and there are times that we despise it and hate it with all of our passion. I've been doing it since maybe about 18 years old. And so I'm going on 38 years now of participating actively inside the snow and ice industry, whether it's public and private, and working with SIMA as the liaison for American Public Works Association and the Winter Maintenance Subcommittee is a joy and honor, because as you can see with my background, it's basically 50% private and 50% public right about at this time in my career. So I see both sides of everything. And what's really, really unique, Dave, is we see the similarities between the public and the private, contrary to what people think. But just because one's nonprofit and one's for profit, we share a lot of commonalities, right? But as far as what I love now, I love the operation. I love playing with adult-sized Tonka toys.
We all love that.
Listen, right? I grew up playing with the Tonka toys, and it's a passion. I get in the machine when I can sometimes still. And I really love seeing the progression of the operation and seeing how I've been able to help motivate our staff and keep a very high level of service. And it's nice to see the finished product and everybody's happy. So you get great satisfaction out of it. I hate the midnight hours. I'm getting too old. I don't like being up at 2, 3, 4 in the morning. It's just not as fun anymore. You don't bounce back like the way we used to, right?
Right.
So, and the anticipation of leading up to it, Dave, and processing all of the data and the forecasting and what are we getting and where do we need to shore up here? Do we need to deploy more staff here? Sometimes that can get stressful when you're working with elected officials, and sometimes you just gotta say, let us get it done, and you'll be happy when it's all done and complete, right? You hired me to do a job, let me do it, and you'll be happy with it. And if not, then you can come back and talk to me and take me to the principal's office.
I like to say that on the private side too. I'm just gonna say that's a good commonality. And I'll mention this: we absolutely don't bounce. I like to think at this point we just break.
Yeah, you're right.
So commonalities, I think, just for the audience, for what's going on, what are some of the commonalities that we see on the public and private side that you've noticed?
I would say number one, and APWA has created a whole committee concentrating on workforce development. And workforce development is everything from onboarding to offboarding, retention, whatever you want to call it. But I can say, as far as finding staff and making sure that we always try and bring staff on who are a right fit for our organization. If they are lacking certain skills, we can always nurture them and bring them to the level that we want them to be at. But finding people who actually want to work inside the trades industries, it's really tough. I still have a lot of friends in the private sector that are in the heavy civil business. Everybody's feeling it. And we are chasing the same bodies in the same labor pool, right?
Yep.
And for us, we provide a lot of other, our compensation package is much different than a private compensation package because we take pride in pensions and all kinds of other benefits that we can provide to those staff members. But sometimes they just want the money right in the paycheck. And for us, trying to find those people who are willing to give us an opportunity, it's been challenging. We're about, I think we're down, with our hardcore staff of 40, we're down 15 to 20% just about all the time now. And we're always trying to backfill those bodies. And we have some people that might be arborists who also plow snow. We have people who are in the water and sewer divisions who plow snow. Everybody plows snow at Public Works. And to find people who are willing to take that plunge and not just be an arborist taking care of trees, but is also willing to work 24, 30 hours plowing snow. It's a different person, right?
It's a different breed of cat. You are able to pay prevailing wage, though. Is prevailing wage built into this, or?
Yeah, so we are a union shop, so we have a collective bargaining agreement.
Okay.
So we are bound by that pay scale.
Okay.
And yeah.
So you have union pay scale. Do you find that union pay scale to be higher than what the average private contractor is going to pay? Like, for example, I just saw Simon come out with a study, I think it was on social media a couple days ago, that they're paying the average shoveler is being paid $25 an hour. How does that compare with where you guys are at?
We're right around our starting salary for a heavy equipment operator is somewhere around $27 an hour. But keep in mind, the heavy equipment operator is the bottom tier for hiring someone. So our heavy equipment operators, there are laborers too. So you get paid regardless of whether you're in a machine or whether you're shoveling. It's all the same pay rate for us.
Sure.
But that's where we are. And then, having the pension and, being able to, when you work 10 years and then you are vested inside the pension program we always are trying to project that as a great benefit to someone, right? Now, you don't make your full salary or even 80% of your salary with 10 years of service. You need to put the years in to get the benefits on the back end. So
yeah, that's huge. The pension, I believe, is huge. One of the things that we coach, team members here on is that if you're 35 years old and you want to retire by the time you're somewhere between 65 and 70, which doesn't give you a lot of room to play, you need to be putting away at minimum 15% of your salary every single paycheck consistently into some kind of 401k. But what I will tell you in the 20 plus years that I've been doing this is that rarely anybody puts money away. I very rarely see that. So you're right. Not only on the public side, but on the private side, they want to see the money in the paycheck. They don't want to see the money in what they could potentially get in the future, which I think is a miss personally. But I'm not here to judge. But I definitely think that workforce is tough. And I will tell you here that in Seattle, I'm not able to hire a shoveler for pretty much less than $35 an hour. Yeah. I can't even get people interested in less than 35 an hour. Right.
Yeah. And Dave, your location and my location, we're both on the coast, and that's where the population is. And we have a very cost of living in the Metro Boston area. I mean, you've talked to John over at JC Grounds. You know what's going on, and whether it's JC Grounds or Outdoor Pride or Case or any of those guys that are out in this area, right? I mean, what they're probably paying for their staff members too, and it's expensive. It's really, really expensive to live out here. And some of my other friends in the private side, or some of them are even offering $50 to operate a loader with a pusher. Yeah. And the response is as well, I don't know if I want to work through the night.
Yeah, there's just I was telling somebody the other today, we are the last of a hardworking generation. Okay. I'm not hating on the younger generation. I think, great for all of them, but there's just, the older I can get a team member, the more experience they have, the more that they'll work through those tough hours, through those tough situations. Yeah. What's the number one challenge you see in the snow industry right now outside of labor?
We're still having some challenges with equipment allocation. Now, granted, with us, our purchasing process is a little bit different than yours, because you can just issue a purchase order and execute and just get what you need. For us, going through the procurement process and making sure that we're abiding by the state procurement laws, it can get tricky because, number one, we only have set funding. So we work on a July 1 to June 30 fiscal year. We cannot overspend with equipment purchases unless it's an absolute emergency, and that's like an act of Congress to get compensated for that. So for us, we have to plan, and then we have to allocate funding. And then what if all of a sudden the equipment goes up by 15 or 20%? What are you going to do there? Then we have to try and find other funding for there. And then, just getting in line to to buy a chassis or getting in line to buy a new front end loader, the timelines are rather challenging when I can't issue a purchase order until X amount of time in the year. And then it's, oh yeah, can you have it for me by November 1? Challenge, So
yeah,
some of the accessories have been coming before the chassis have in instances with our snow fighter trucks.
Are you building your equipment? Are you putting your equipment together in-house or do you outsource that?
No, we outsource it. We have some vendors that we work with who have been doing a fantastic job with that. And we do a lot of homework in our decision making as to what we are purchasing. Like, take for example, I'm at the Public Works Expo here in Atlanta. I attended the North American Snow Conference in April, and you have to take the time to talk to the OEMs and all the accessory vendors about what's going to be the best fit for your operation and what the level of service is, right? Like, you just can't go and buy something and I can't turn around and say, well, Dave Westcott just bought something and I think it's a good idea. I'm just going to go buy it. You gotta do your homework and you gotta put the effort forth to make sure you're making the right decisions. And I still think it's like my own money sometimes, being from a family business. So
Yeah.
I am very responsible with how we spend that money every year, right? And you need to answer for it. You need to be accountable for it. You just can't say, oh, I screwed up.
Yeah, I believe that. And I think that's awesome that you do that. Taking it a little different direction, we spent some time talking about, the public side, the private side for the entrepreneur on the call. You've got a lot of experience back and forth.
Yep.
What is the number one thing that you see in snow and ice contractors or in contractors of any trade where they just kind of miss the mark? Like, if you could level up in this one area, whether you're pouring concrete foundations or you're, residing a building or you're plowing snow, whatever it is, where is an area that you see that entrepreneurs could have big improvement, big payoff in their business?
In particular, in the snow and ice industry, taking the time to educate your staff on all the new fancy equipment, taking your time to educate your staff on all the capabilities and the limitations of the equipment and the materials that you are using. You know me, I'm a big winter liquids proponent, right? And to the point that I purchased the commercial rights to a new liquid de-icer from a patent issued by the government from Washington State University. Like, hey, I'm committed, but I'm committed because I know that is a place where if you understand what's going on and you understand your limitations and your level of service, there's all kinds of ways that you can skin that cat. But taking the time with the staff and giving them the tools for them to understand what your pathway is and what is going to be best for your agency or company, you're going to get the most out of them. You're going to become more of an efficient operation, and they're going to get that. You get that buy-in from them. They're going to look at you differently because you're including them in what's important, right? You're going to get more out of them. And I really do like training. I'm a big training proponent, and I have seen great progress from my current staff on the public side just by giving them more training and talking to them about it. You have to talk with somebody. You don't just talk at someone, right? And I think, and the training, there's never too much training. Just we're talking to these guys from BuildWit right now on the APWA side because they have all these amazing training videos, and there's overlap again with heavy civil and public, right? Well, I said to them, I said, where are your snow plowing videos? And they said, you're not the only person that's asked for that, right? But having a 2 to 3 minute clip of the do's and don'ts, the walk around inspections, check this, check that, a no-brainer, right? And constant reminders of what's working and what isn't working and staying on top of what's coming out. I think training, I would say training in just education is definitely number 2 after workforce development.
I love that. And you said the training software was BuildWhip?
BuildWitt, WITT. Yeah. So they're here at the conference today, and APWA is partnering with them right now on this e-learning platform that they have, which is really, really interesting stuff. And it's a team of young guys, not like us, and they're full of it, and they're pushing forward at 1,000 miles an hour. You better hold on if you want to jump on. That's all I gotta say.
Well, you know what? That's good, man. I love to see the young tech and how we can enable technology, into our businesses. Yeah. Fusion Corporation.
Yep.
Or in Italian,
Fusione.
Fusione. Talk to us about this.
So I started a consulting business in 2019. I felt that there was a demand for additional people providing professional training for the snow and ice industry. A lot of the people that I was looking at and talking to were municipal clients. And since then, there's been some expansion. I've looked at some materials management projects as well, but it's still very much focused on the snow and ice industry. Like I said, I have that project with Washington State University on trying to bring that new organic de-icer that's derived from apples instead of sugar beet, trying to bring that to market right now. We have proof of concept, and we are in the process of scaling up for field testing. We have a lot of excited people who are interested in it. There's a lot of movers and shakers in the industry who want to see this thing in the market. The question is can we get it there as quickly as possible? I'm also working on a project with Montana State University for a operations and maintenance manual on winter liquid storage and pumping systems.
Wow.
So we're working on that. I also have 2 other projects I'm working on right now that I can't necessarily give too many details, but they're very large projects that come to fruition are going to be really, really exciting. One of them is related with dynamic salt spreading. So it's on-demand salt spreading with utilizing the God Almighty friction as your basis for whether or not you want to apply liquids or rock salts, and how much you want to apply based on what the friction rating is. And I got to say, like, I can dive into that a little bit. We use that friction technology on the public side, and that is our no go. I tell people we are in the traction business. We are not in the black and wet business. We are in the traction business. And if you can safely drive around and have traction, then we're doing our job. And the staff was deployed on standby, but there was at least 4 events that we had last winter where we did not apply any rock salt or chlorides. So we saved there. Because we knew what the friction was on the pavement, we knew that we didn't need to apply. They were on standby all night, but guess what? We didn't empty the salt shed, and we didn't put chlorides into the environment that aren't needed. And you and I know that there's a lot of stuff happening with chlorides reduction in the private and public sector as well. And part of my organics project, again, is trying to build a better mousetrap and utilizing chlorides, but using some natural organics to help counteract the chloride impacts into the environment. So yeah, there's a lot of this couple of things going on, and
just a few,
like what
just
you
a
do.
Few.
Yeah, but it's no different than you, right? You find the time to do it, and then I balance that with trying to be a supportive husband and a supportive dad to 13 and 14-year-old boys, right? And going to as many games as possible, lacrosse and soccer. So yeah, it's a balance.
Yeah, you're balancing a lot. You're in the tricky years with the kids, for sure. And it only gets more difficult, and then maybe the tension eases off and, we get a little more friendly in there. I don't know. But, I hear back and forth. I hear, some of my friends have great teenage kids who are just a pleasure and a joy to be around. They're not battling with them. And then, I hear some that are just at war with the kids. So I hope that I'm on the, hey, it's a pleasure to be around and, program.
They're awesome. My boys are awesome. I'm fortunate. My boys are they're very supportive of what dad is trying to do. They get it.
That's cool. Have they been in the snow truck?
Not yet, but they have shoveled the driveway many a times when dad could not make it home because dad was busy. And then I get the comment of, when can I use the snowblower? I'm like, you're not there yet, dude.
That's right. The snowblower can be dangerous.
Yes.
Wasn't there some Marvel character, superhero guy that just ran himself over with a snowblower? I think. Yeah, like Hawkeye. I don't know what his real name is.
Oh, yes, you are correct. He up in I believe it was Idaho.
Yeah.
Jeremy Renner.
Yeah. That's it.
Yes,
that's it.
right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ran himself over with a snowblower. Listen, this is for trained professionals only. You got to this is serious business we're talking about here. So Not only are you working in the public, that's your day job. That's the 9 to 5 or the 9 to 12, however, that's whatever's going on in the weather. But you're also an entrepreneur building a business.
Yeah.
What is the number one thing you would say to any entrepreneur out there who is building a business and working a day job? What's one tip or a piece of advice you'd give them?
If you don't believe in what you're doing, don't do it, because it's just going to eat away at you. You have to be committed to your cause. You have to believe in what you're doing, right? I mean, that. And I mean, I am fortunate. My family, my wife, and my kids, and my parents, everybody is supportive of what I do and they understand it. So if you have support staff, it's just going to help you, because am I right to say, Dave, it's a roller coaster, right? There's ups and downs. And if you have people when you're dipping down to help bring you up, that's a huge benefit. But I got to say, passion, I do have a lot of passion for what I do. I think you've realized that after we spent some time over there at the board of directors meeting for Sima, right? And it's, listen, you call it the way it is, no BS. You take the good with the bad. Don't sugarcoat anything, good, bad, or indifferent. This is the way it's got to be, and this is the way it is, and have the passion for what you are trying to achieve. If you don't have it, then reevaluate, because it's like I said, it will eat away at you slowly.
I definitely believe that. What is your why? What is it that keeps you moving?
As my wife says, she's like, "Oh, here we go. You're geeking out again." You know what though? I have a civil engineering, a bachelor's in civil engineering. I really, I like the problem solving. I do. I like making a difference, and having a little bit of that unknown.
Yeah.
But that you have the capability to make that unknown known. I think I'm intrigued by that. And I know that ultimately I am here to make the industry a better place once I'm done with it. If I can make a little bit of money along the way, then I'm okay with that. But actually making an impact and is what's important, right? And just having passion for whatever job you have, right?
Yeah.
Having passion for whatever you're doing, you can see who those people are. Whether, I bust tables at a restaurant as a kid. It doesn't matter what your job is, but if you see the people that have that passion for what they're doing, you're happy about what you're doing. And ultimately it's a happier life, I think, as long as you can channel that energy into making some good in this world, right?
I love it. I love the passion. I think that's an amazing thing. I got one question for you before we bring this thing in for a landing. I've definitely appreciated your time. It's been a fantastic show. Do you see a world that is 100% liquid in our future when it comes to de-icing?
Good question. Their Ohio DOT has liquid only routes right now. There are actually, they're the big ones that everybody talks about. There are liquid only routes in multiple DOTs already happening. And I gotta say, you have to be in the right climate, and there has to be a reason why. But there's variables there. It is possible. But again, there's multiple variables, and I don't want to talk out of I'm a little bit outside of my comfort zone here. There are people though that are doing it, and it's been effective. But again, it has to do with mainly like what kind of climate you're in and what your storm events are like.
Yep.
Heavy moisture snow, Dave, is, that liquid's gonna dilute out really, really quickly. So if you're going to try and go for a liquids only in a situation like that, it's probably not going to work out well. But it is being done, and there's some studies that people are doing with that technology already, and I think it has some potential, but it's not going to be everything.
Yeah, I think so too. I try to do as much liquid as possible. I'm a huge liquid proponent. I try to do, if I can just do liquid, I love it. I love it, for multiple reasons, but I think one of the biggest is the environment. Just, dead streams, dead lakes, dead, I don't like that. The big lake down in Florida, although it has nothing to do with snow removal, Lake Awasagi, I think I'm probably butchering that, 732 square miles of lake surrounded by sugarcane, killed by nitrogen, I just don't like any of that. You know what I mean? Sugar's great and all that, but I want to do my part as a contractor to be environmentally conscious. And I'm not saying I'm running around hugging trees or doing anything crazy, I'm still practical. I'm still realistic. I'm still all that. But if in the service that I provide to a customer, if I can, reduce the environmental impact and keep people safe, I feel like I've done a good job.
Yeah. Well, when you see vegetation growing in a landlocked area that only grows in salt water, there's a question.
Yeah. There's a question, and there's a problem. So if anybody wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way for someone to reach out? Is it through LinkedIn, Instagram? Are you social?
Yeah, I have a LinkedIn account. I have two LinkedIn accounts. I have a LinkedIn account for the town of Lexington, and I also have a LinkedIn account through Fusione Corporation as well. That's probably the best way. I check that. I check that on a daily basis. There's a lot of good stuff there, so I'm definitely on that all the time.
All right. So if you're looking to get a hold of our good friend Marc, reach out via LinkedIn through either one of those places. That's absolutely the best way to do this. Has been a great show. If you're looking to get a hold of me, I'm on social media. LinkedIn is also the best way for me, Dave Westcott. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook. Check out the YouTube channel, Running a Marathon, having some fun. If you like this show, give us a like, give us a share. Drop your comments into the comment box, and we appreciate you listening in today. And Marc, it's been absolutely fantastic having you on the show. Thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you for the invite, Dave, and happy to been developing a relationship with you over this past couple of months here. So
I love it.
Fantastic.
I always enjoy you in the CIMA board meetings. I think it's a fresh perspective. It's a cutting edge perspective. I think we need it. I think it's a great partnership between CIMA and what you guys are doing over there on the committee. And I think that it just makes the industry as a whole better. And the more perspectives and the more, intelligent people we can have around the table, the better off we're going to be.
Thank you, Dave.
All right, my friend, enjoy the conference. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Mike Bott from Frost Solutions, one of the owners of the company. What we do is provide a mini weather station to give you a tailored forecast to those particular locations, so you know where and when and what to do in those parts of town. You know, there's 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 different ways that people can experience tremendous value having a technology like this.
Introducing the all-new Western Enforcer V-Plow. Engineered with all the features, efficiency, and performance of full-size Western V-Plows, built specifically for your half-ton truck. For more information, visit westernplows.com.